Hey folks, you are most welcome to the channel, and once again we have an amazing entrepreneur over here who is the founder and CEO of the Impact School. So dear guests, you are most welcome on the show. The audience is super excited to know a little intro about you.
Absolutely. So thanks so much for having me. This is going to be great. I know we're going to share loads of value. So I am all about empowering founders and CEOs to get out of the day to day so they can actually scale their companies, double their sales without them having to do all of it themselves. So my mission is to actually get those founders, get those CEOs to turn their crazy vision into a reality. And that's what we're doing with Impact School. So thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you so much for this crazy intro, right? Perfect. So let me just share it with my audience that today the topic that we are covering is how to productize your knowledge or skill that you have, right? So Lauren, can you please share some insights regarding like how one can productize their knowledge and skill?
Yeah, for sure. I think the first thing is that people might not even be at the stage where they need to do that. Okay. This is something very critical because if you haven't mastered something, so I'll take an example. One of my clients at Impact School, she helps people get jobs in the luxury fashion industry. Okay. Privately, she's done this herself, right? She had top ranking jobs at like Dior, Louis Vuitton, all these very, very prestigious companies. But also, she had one-on-one helped more than 200 people do this. Okay. So if she tried to create a productized service, an online course, a coaching program, she wouldn't have known exactly what's needed, right? And because she did it so many times, she was able to use the Pareto principle, the 80-20 principle, to figure out what 80% of people need. And then that is how she was able to create a productized service. At Impact School, we call it an impact offer because it's really designed to make an impact on the person who you are helping and get them to the outcome that they really, really want. Okay. So it's very important that you have the experience. Now, let's say you do have the experience. So the way that I'm seeing the industry going, because I speak at a lot of events all around the world, big events with entrepreneurs who even have companies doing hundreds and hundreds of millions. And what I'm hearing is this, okay? And I'm seeing this too, that the best companies are fusing together their consulting, their courses, their coaching, and they're now doing more for their clients, right? Or that's if they're B2B. And then if they're B2C, they're adding more experiences, right? And more hands on support. So maybe in the past, you had a health and fitness coaching offering, right? Now, what would you do? You would actually deliver the food to the client's house. Or you would take them away on monthly retreats whereby you do all their blood work, you get doctors there, you analyze it. More for clients is where the industry is going. Because as you probably noticed, especially in 2020, a lot of people entered the market because it was very easy to enter at that time. Everyone got used to using Zoom and such. So now, basically, the moral of the story is you have to be really bloody good at what you do, and you have to give more to your clients to allow them to no longer feel the pain that they're feeling.
All right, that is interesting, right? So the way that you have explained, it's just crazy. Like the people have entered in 2020, but now they are struggling, right? Because they didn't have the more experience. But one should have experience into it, right? Perfect. So as you mentioned over there, like let's say if there is a coach and they have started, right, and they're feeling stuck, what shall they do?
Well, it depends where you're stuck, right? So I think a lot of people get stuck because they add too much complexity when really they just need to focus. So for example, let's say you're stuck at like 10K per month, just as an example. This is a goal that a lot of people have. And when they get there, they get stuck because for a long time it's been a goal. So when they hit it, they get complacent, right? But usually that's when they start self-sabotaging behavior. So it's not like they even try and do different things to ruin everything on purpose. It's happening subconsciously in the back of their mind. So I truly believe that as the founder, as the CEO, as a person that owns the business, you constantly have to level yourself up. You constantly have to work on yourself. You constantly have to grow yourself. You constantly have to expand your network and get rid of the things that are no longer serving you. Because if you're trying to get to the next stage, you're trying to break past a sticking point, then all of the things that got you to where you are now won't necessarily be the things that you need to get to the next level. So, for example, when I really stepped into entrepreneurship, I pretty much let go of all my friends. Now, I didn't do that on purpose, but they were people that I like grew up with, where I didn't tell them like, hey, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. I just stopped texting them, and I stopped following them on social media, and I stopped when they invited me somewhere, I didn't go anymore, right? And so I began to instead go to masterminds, go to business events. I started to connect with people on social media, and I started to build a new network. And then as I was traveling, or if someone was like, hey, I was living in England then, if they said, hey, I'm going to be in London, I would then travel like, an hour to get to London to go and meet up with them. You see what I mean? So I had to level up my network to get me to that next level, because it would change the way that I see myself, right? Oftentimes this is about self-perception. So if we do not see ourselves as the person that we ultimately want to be, then we are never going to be able to make that happen. So we have to assess our everyday reality right now and ask yourself, okay, let's say your goal is right now you want to make $2 million a year, okay? Or even 200,000 a year. Ask yourself this. A business owner who is making 200,000 a year, a business owner who is making 2 million a year, would they do this thing? Ask yourself that. Because if not, why are you doing it? Okay? You have to get really real with yourself.
Right, perfect, perfect. That means we have to, keep the things away that is not helping you to reach there. You got to see what is the best way to work, like in order to achieve that particular goal, right? Perfect. So while I was listening to your podcast, like when you were interviewing Grant Cardone, I found a couple of topics over there. I really liked them, right? Since people are into this productizing their knowledge, their business, right, into coaching business, so they also understand the importance of the sales. So what exactly you would like to tell people on the importance of the sales funnel?
Yeah, so let's talk about sales. So I want to make sure I fully answered your question that you asked me before, though, because I kind of mentioned something slightly before the stage of productizing your service. Let's say you now know that you are a badass at what you do, right? You've worked with clients, you're good at what you do, you have testimonials, and you're confident, right? So, in a few simple steps, let's talk about how to productize your services. So, the first thing you need to be really clear on is what is the outcome that you want to actually take clients to. So, as I said before, with Impact School, we will double your sales and get you as the founder and CEO out of the day-to-day operations so that you can be in your zone of genius. So what does that mean? Well, we have to double the sales of our clients. So when they are finished working with us, their sales need to be doubled, and those sales need to be from their team, because we want to remove them from the daily operations. So we give them a sales specialist, and we give them enough leads that would allow them to double their sales. So we do that work for our clients. Okay. So let's reverse engineer this for yourself. Let's take an example. Let's say you have a business and you help people gain 100,000 followers on TikTok. Okay. That's the outcome you take them to. So now you need to figure out, okay, step by step, what mini outcomes do you need to take a client to get them to that following? So maybe the first mini outcome is that you need to optimize their TikTok. Okay, so you need to make for them a image, you need to make for them like a theme and an aesthetic as to how it's going to look, and you need to make them a content plan for the next 2 weeks. Okay, that's the first mini outcome. Okay, so then you execute those 2 weeks, and then maybe the next mini outcome after that is you speak to them and you assess how that 2 weeks went. Okay, because you're going to do this for every client coming in, so there has to be a system, right? And then once you've now looked at that 2 weeks, okay, you know that the next phase after that is we need to make the next 2 months of content plan. Okay, and now you need to give the client the scripts and everything for those 2 months of content. They need to film it, they need to submit it to you, yada yada yada. Okay, you get my point. And then maybe every single week you do a review with them to look at how everything's going. Now you need to decide, are they going to do the execution, or are you going to do the execution? So is it going to be like a coaching program, or is it going to be like an agency model? Again, for most people, I would suggest the agency model where you do more for your clients, because that's much more easy to scale in the beginning. But obviously, as I mentioned in the beginning, right, of this podcast, agency and consulting are shifting together. So you can't just be an agency and do it for them and do everything, because if they don't change some things about their business, then you won't get them the best results. So for example, you can't just like tell someone, hey, I'm going to get you 100,000 followers on TikTok if they're not willing to change the way that they're being on camera. as an example. You have to consult them on that and guide them and coach them so that then they can perform better. You see what I mean? So that's just a quick example. But you basically take it chunk by chunk, and that is how you can turn something into a productized service. And the first time around that you do it, like I have one of my clients, Marianne, she made $67,000 in 21 days because she didn't create loads of video content and do all of this crazy stuff. She mapped it out as to how it was going to be for her 16-week program, her impact offer. This is her productized service. And then she launched it, and we get onto the sales part that you just mentioned about. So she pre-sold 30 people into it. All right. Because then she knew that it was something that was worth making. So now let's talk about this sales. So the first thing and the easiest way to get clients in the beginning is reaching out to people who are in your network that have followed you for a while, and maybe even just posting some stuff on Instagram stories, like Facebook stories, whatever platform you like. Like, are you looking to lose weight? Yes or no? Okay. Everyone that votes yes, boom, send a super casual message to them. Just something along the lines of like, all right, let's get shredded in 2023. How about this? Like, what's your game plan to lose the weight? I've got a bunch of free resources, happy to send some over to you. Boom, that opens the conversation. Now you can use the win framework to actually close this person as a client of yours. So what is win? Win stands for what? Okay, so what is their problem or goal? Okay, so you need to know, okay, they want to lose 30 pounds. Okay, then you investigation. Okay, go 2 layers deep. So you find out, what have they tried in the past that isn't working? Why do they want to lose the weight? Why is it important to them? Just investigate, right? And N is numbers. Okay, so you put numbers on it to make their pain real. So let's say like they want to, okay, they've already told you that they want to lose 30 pounds. Now you maybe the numbers that you standardize that you always want to find out every time is, how long have you been trying this for? And then they tell you they've been trying it for 3 years. For us, the numbers phase that at Impact School that we find out is, what is their revenue and what is their team size now, and what do they want their revenue to be? Because we need to qualify them as well. Because if they're making like $2,000 a month right now, then not yet a good client for Impact School, right? We've really worked with people who are already in like the 6-figure per year range, and also that have at least a couple of people on their team. Because if it's just a solo entrepreneur, we know that we can't get the best results, right? Like, well, we can, it's just not our focus, you see? So to the point. So that could be one way that you do it. Another way that you could do it is you could just run a free training, right? And get loads of people signed up, get their name, email, and phone number. And anyone that signs up to it, you phone them up and you check and make sure that they got access to the training. And then you again have that exact same win framework conversation. You just do it on the phone. And then in the end, you make them an offer like, hey, seems like you could be a really good fit for this. I'm looking for a few people. I don't really like that thing that everyone always says, I'm looking for a few people. But if you actually are, you could say to them, like, right now, I am currently enrolling a few people into a new offering whereby the guarantee is that I'll take you to blah, 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 blah. And then that's how you can basically book them onto an interview to see if they're going to be a good fit in working with you. And then from there, basically sales call, and that's a whole different thing. But yeah.
Okay, that's really a nice way to do it, right? That's been crazy. Awesome. That sounds really interesting, right? So, okay, while I was, listening to your podcast only, I would pick up this question from there only, right? And this is something what people exactly struggle with while in people, as you mentioned, doing the things on your own or hiring somebody to get it done, right? So
Mm.
people have the mindset of your own, not to invest too much, right? So how to have this mindset that, okay, now I have to be the one, like that business owner, how to develop that mindset?
So I think this is a vision problem, because I think many people get into business because I want to have freedom. I want to be able to do what I want. I want to make more money. And so it's all about them. And that's fair enough, right? Like, that's why I got into business too. But now I've been in business for almost 10 years. I've realized, like, that was not the best mindset for me to have. And I wish I'd let go of that mindset sooner, because it's actually about the person that you're serving. Because I truly believe that every $1 million that you make is $1 million worth of impact that you've made. And so if it's hard to make the millions, then it means that you're not making enough impact. And this only became clear to me after I named my company Impact School, by the way. So I think that really, when it comes down to hiring people, just look at every successful company and ask yourself how many people are in the company. Is it more than one person? Is it more than the founder? Because I can't think of a single really successful company that I know that's ran by one person. I've seen a video one time of a guy that's making like 10 million a year just by himself. He owns some like blog or some software thing, but that's like one in I don't even know how many. That's a very small number. So at the end of the day, I really look to, and it's interesting, I've been getting asked this a lot lately, and I think it's because people are starting to realize the importance of having an amazing team, or maybe it's just because people see my team and how friggin' badass they are. So I don't know which one of those it is, but maybe it's both. And I just think about like, imagine if I was having to do, I don't even know what goes on in my company every day. I have no idea. There are calls that are happening right now that I don't even know what's going on. I have zero clue, right? But I trust in the fact that what's being done is what I would want done because we hire based upon our values. And I had to sit down and think about and write down what are the values. Because, for example, Noor, who's my COO, and I recently actually made her a business partner. So now she has a percentage of the company. She knows how to act when I'm not there, right? Because she's been with me for so long and because we've spent so much time in person together. Like we've stayed with each other like in the same apartment for like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Like we know each other so well. But other people on the team, they don't know that, right? Because they've never met me. It's all online. And they don't have like a friendship, it's like a boss and employee relationship, right? Or they don't even speak to me, right? Because it's just online. So I had to codify what are our values because me and Nora innately knew that. So I had to spend time writing that down. And I didn't used to hire based upon values. I used to just hire anyone that came to me. Okay. So I'd like make a post on Facebook or send an email to my list, like, hey, I need someone to do this, this, and this. And then a few people would message, and then I'd speak to some of them and like say, okay, cool. Can you do this for me? I'll pay you a fee for that task. And we'd never really get on a call, no interview, no nothing. Whereas now we have like a very in-depth interview process. So I'm talking about a slightly different topic than what you originally asked me about, like, hiring, but it's a company. A company has people in it that do different things. And at the end of the day, if you invest now in your team, yeah, maybe like it's going to lower your profit margins for a little bit, but everyone's chasing passive income, right? So like you're basically then putting yourself in a position, you could say it's more becoming like passive income because you're doing less of the active work. And yes, you're making a little bit less, but you're able to do double the amount. So if you make 20% less of the total, but in total it's double, you're still making more than you would have been making if you'd done it on your own, even though your costs are now higher. Does that make sense?
Perfect, perfect. I was just coming to this point only as you have already shared, first increase your sales and then double it as well, right? So I was curious to know about this as well. So like it would be great if you can share, like, okay, let's say people are trying to keep the pricing of their product. So how
Yeah.
now they can double the sales?
Okay, so let's say you've doubled. So your point is like they've doubled the price and now they want to double the sales. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I mean, I think oftentimes it's even easier to sell something if the price is double. I think you commented this yesterday, right? Like you were selling a PR service and someone told you like it must be a scam because your price is too low. Yeah, and I think that's like I was laughing as you said it because it's like ridiculous, but I actually understand what they mean. Because whenever I go to buy something, if the price is too low, it sounds too good to be true. Like a more sophisticated entrepreneur will expect a higher price point, or someone that's like really serious about the result. Because let's just say, let's take a random example, okay? Do you truly think that for $100, let's say you're having a terrible marriage right now and your relationship's in shambles, do you really think for $100 that's going to save your relationship? Okay. It depends who you're talking to, right? If it's someone with a really low income, then fine. But like what I'm talking about is like someone who's making 60 grand a year pays $100 for a course on how to save the marriage. No, it's not, it doesn't matter enough, right? Whereas if you invest 20K into therapy, right? Or like a lawyer or whatever, you're taking that really seriously. okay, because it's a lot of money. So I actually think oftentimes it's easier to sell something that's a higher price point because the people that are in the market are more serious people, okay? So now, how to actually sell more? Well, I think one of the bigger issues is that people just don't invite people to become a client. So maybe you're having loads of conversations on Facebook right now. Maybe you have people like following you. When was the last time you actually reached out to those people in a super casual way? Got the conversation going. I already mentioned the win framework earlier in this call. And then at the end of it, once you know, oh, wow, you're actually really someone that I could help, just saying something along the lines of, oh my gosh, this is divine timing. So at the moment, I'm just opening up applications for blah, 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 whatever it is that you're selling. And seems like you could be a really good fit. How about this? Send me 2 times today or tomorrow that you'd be available for a call, and I'd be able to break down exactly how I can guarantee you that I will blah, blah, blah. And for most people, if it's what they want, because you've already figured out it's what they want, you've investigated and you've put numbers on it, then it's going to be a no-brainer. And it sounds, again, the way that I'm saying this now, it sounds too easy. It is. we
Perfect.
book between we book between 30 and 60 sales calls a day on every single platform that we use through using this method.
Perfect.
That's a
That's
lot.
interesting. That's a lot, right?
That's a lot. Yeah.
Perfect. So that really sounds interesting, and people would love to join the Impact School who are listening to us. People, I really would suggest jump on checking out that what she is offering, right? So, do you have some programs to offer? Do you have some free coaching programs as well, and paid as well?
Yeah, I would say just listen to Impact School podcast. We've put a bunch of free content out there. That's probably the best place just to tune in. Impact School on Instagram, and then myself personally, just Lauren Tickner on any social media, LaurenTickner. But yeah, we right now we've actually closed down our programs, and at the moment we're just accepting invitation people that apply to work with us. We vet through the applications and so on and so forth. So I'd say the best place to go would be the free content for sure.
Perfect, perfect. So what I'll be doing is I'll be keeping the link of all the podcasts over here in the description so that people can jump on checking it out and so they get value and they can connect with you, right? So there is a question that popping up in my mind, right? As you mentioned in the starting, like Abhinandan, it's love to see what you're doing. So what would you suggest to other people to in order to impact that value and how you feel like being on the show on the rising needs?
Yeah, so what for people to add value to their communities, like how can they do that more? So I think one of the things is that I feel like nowadays there's a lot of like really short form content out there. This is what works for us, at least. I don't know. Again, for other people, it depends on the audience, but for us, for our audience is like entrepreneurs, founders, CEOs, like things like this. People love podcasts. They love long form content. We have a Facebook group. It's just like Impact School. If you type that into Facebook, you'll find it. So we do long form content in there, like long form trainings. We're gonna start actually in the new year going live every week as well with different people from my team sharing like long trainings, the same type of thing that we would give to clients. And I just think that this is more and more what people are wanting now. Like they love the long form stuff if they're really serious and looking to implement. So that's something that I would say just try it, like doing some live streams. And if no one's there in the beginning, just stay consistent. And if no one's there, like maybe you're just not sharing enough like tangible value, right? So yeah, that's what I would say is working really nicely for us.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. That sounds interesting. Thank you so much, Lauren, for adding value to the audience right over here. And I'm really glad and thankful to you that you worked on a show and you added value, a ton of value, so that people, we will just do a little recap. Like you told people that how to productize their knowledge and a skill they have, and then having the sales funnel, and also then going through the pricing and then selling it through, right? And also understanding the consulting model and agency model as well, right? Those are merging all together. So that was a great point that I really liked. So thank you so much. It was so awesome to communicate with you, right?
I
So,
love your energy. You have great
right?
energy, by the way. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, is there like at the end, like, would you like to give any tip to the audience?
I would say just listen to Impact School podcasts. You know, there's so much free content on there that like is beyond what I could possibly even share today. And yeah, just keep listening to this show as well because you're sharing great stuff and like your energy is fantastic. So I appreciate you for having me on here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our guest as well. And I'll share the all the social media platform links of Lauren over here so that you connect with her. I have really found so much of amazing content on her Instagram. It was like just amazing that you are sharing it in the reels format. Those are just amazing, right? That's awesome. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Cheers. Thank you for having me.